Hello, Rita Wallace here with Wallace Family Ministry. Thank you for tuning into my channel. We are on a journey of the Love Dare. We are almost halfway through, which is super duper exciting, right? So we are on day 18 of the Love Dare for your marriage or relationship. So we're gonna hop right in. And day 18 is love seeks to understand, okay? So we always start with a verse, and our verse today is Proverbs 3:13. And Proverbs 3:13 says, "How blessed is the man who finds wisdom and the man who gains understanding." Excuse me, I'm going to repeat that because I screwed it up. How blessed is the man who finds wisdom and the man who gains understanding, okay? So that's Proverbs 3:13. We enjoy discovering as much as we can about the things that we truly care about, right? So if it's our favorite football team, we'll read any article that helps us keep up with how they're doing. If it's cooking, we'll check out all those channels and websites that share the best grilling techniques or dessert recipes, or a subject that appeals to us. We're gonna study that, we're gonna research it. We wanna know everything there is to know about it, right? So it actually becomes this natural response of, area of study that we apply personally in our lives. So we have all of these interests. We really seek to study them, to gain knowledge about them, to learn everything we can about them, and to gain wisdom in this area that we are so interested in. But this is where love would ask the question, how much do you know about your mate? So this is the person that you agreed to spend your life with, right? And when you guys were dating, you and your husband, or even if you're dating now, just think about, those early days of when you wanted to know everything you could know about them, when they were the thing that you wanted to study. You just wanted to know everything. You thought about them all the time. You were consumed with this desire to learn about who they were as a person, their likes, their dislikes, their quirks. Even in those early days, we tend to think those quirks that drive us crazy after we get into a marriage or relationship for a long time, were cute, right? Oh, this is this cute thing that they do, right? So when a man is trying to win the heart of a woman, he studies her, right? He learns her dislikes, habits, and hobbies. But after he wins his heart, or her heart, and marries her, he often stops learning about her. Isn't that so true in our lives? The mystery and challenge of knowing her seems less intriguing, and he finds his interest drifting to other areas. So this is also true in many cases for women who start admiring and building respect for the man they desire to be with, but after marriage those feelings begin to fade as reality reveals that her prince is flawed and an imperfect man, right? That's what I was saying, is that those quirks and all these things that we learn about them early on seem cute, or we think that they literally walk on water, and then we learn after we're married or after we've been together for a long time that is simply not the case, right? So we give up trying to learn about our mate, and the thing about it is that we're ever changing, so we really need to continue to want to learn about our mates. I'm definitely not where I was when I got married, and then I became a mom, so I changed then as well. And as I've developed into a mom and a mom of two, and earned degrees, and studied certain things in parenting, and I just and how the family functions, I've grown so much in certain areas, and I'm not the same person. I'm not the same person that I was a year ago, right? So we need to want to constantly be learning who our spouse is and what makes them them, and how they're growing, and helping them to grow as well. So there are many good things still yet to be discovered about our spouse, all right? So, and this understanding will help us to draw us closer together. So it can even give you favor in the eyes of your mate. and good understanding produces favor. That's the first point that I want you to get is good understanding produces favor, and that's actually Proverbs 13:15. That's where we learn that. So consider the following perspective. If the amount you studied your spouse before marriage were equal to a high school diploma, then you should continue to learn about your mate until you gain a college degree, a master's degree, and ultimately a doctorate degree. You should know them more than anybody else. We should take the time to do that, okay? So we need to think of this, getting to know our spouse, getting to understand our spouse, and not just knowing, because we can know things and not understand, right? A lifelong journey that draws our heart ever closer to our mate, all right? So here's some questions that the authors give us to ponder. Do you know what your spouse's greatest hopes and dreams are? Okay. Do you fully understand how they prefer to give and receive love? Do you know what your spouse's greatest fears are and why they struggle with them? Okay. So, this is the second point that I want you to get. Some of the problems you have in relating to your spouse are simply because you don't understand them. So we can know things about them, but when we just are knowing and we're not taking the time to understand, things can be misconstrued. We get in our own heads and we make up the situation and scenarios that we believe, which might not necessarily be how your spouse is thinking, or how your spouse is operating. So I'm very fast paced. I'm very, let's do this now, especially when there's something that we have to do. And my husband is not that way. My husband is just very more lackadaisical. This is actually one thing I really love about him. This is also something that can drive me crazy if I let it. In my head, though, if I'm having a bad day or even beginning in our marriage or whatever, I can create this story in my head that says, oh, I can't wait till the last minute to do something, and he knows this, and he's just not respecting this about me, right? But I'm turning this into, this is about me, and it isn't. And this is making me angry, the story that I'm telling myself in my head, when this is just the way that he functions and operates. And if I just took a minute to breathe and said, this is Chris, this has nothing to do with me, this is the way that he operates, this is the way that he does things, this is who he is, and I understand that, and it's not a personal attack against me or a respect thing or means he loves me any less. This is who he is, and I have to understand that and offer understanding. And maybe if I'm not satisfied with the way things are done in a situation, maybe it's something I need to do myself, right? I mean, that's not advice that I'm giving everybody. Obviously, there's a lot of give and take in marriages, and we have much of that give and take, and I think are good at that at times. We can, I think I'm probably worse at it than him. I think he probably is better at the give and take with me than I am with him at times, because I want things the way that I want them, and that's something that I have to get out of my own head with and compromise with in marriage. Not necessarily I want things the way that I want them in our relationship, it's just in my own life. So I will kind of set myself apart. And I'm a family and parent educator, so just think about that. Like, I have a degree in specifically studying the family, and sometimes I will set myself apart, like on my own separate entity, especially if I'm just having a really usually when I'm like in that type of mindset, like I'm way overstressed. So when I'm way overstressed and like that, I make myself this separate entity. I don't do it on purpose. But then I'm like, no, we're a family. This is, all of us are here, and we all need to be considered. And this isn't about you, Brita. It's about your family, and this is how we operate, together. And we have to come to this mutual place of operating together as a family and learning out how we do that well. And that's considering and understanding how each of us functions. So there's things in his life that I'm sure where he's like, okay, she's functioning this way, and it probably drives him nuts, but he's learn to accept that about me. And, you know, sometimes we are overly stressed and that creates discord. But I was using that as an example to tell you that we have to understand these things about each other. We're very opposite in a lot of ways. And if we don't have this understanding, then it can create discord. It can create problems where problems don't need to be. And realizing that it isn't about us. It's about, you know, this is just the way that this, you know, my spouse is. This is just the way that I am. And these are things that we can either decide to get angry about and know about our spouses, or we can come to a level of understanding and compassion. And I just wanted to just give you a little bit of a scenario, like in my own life, that happens so much, or that happens with us, not so much. It doesn't happen so much anymore. It used to happen a lot, where we're just like, you know, about certain things, and now we have a better level of understanding. But we've had to work for that. We still have to work for it. It doesn't just come naturally to us, because like I said, like I've always been very independent, so I can put myself, when I'm under high stress, in this separate scenario where, okay, it's just me, and it isn't just about me, it's about a family, and there's a family here, and there's many people and parts involved, and it takes everybody in the family to function. And we have to be grateful for the part that they, our spouses and even our kids, bring to the table, bring to our family circle, right? We have to be grateful for those things, and we don't get to choose them. So we have to come to a level of understanding, because if we just know, like I said, if we just know, then we're not understanding or offering compassion there, then we can get mad sometimes about those things, and we don't want to do that. We want to understand, right? We want to understand who the people in our lives that we love are, especially our spouse. So that point was, just to reiterate, some of the problems you have in relating to your spouse are simply because you don't understand them. Okay, so that was the point of me telling you that, is it's different to know and to understand. All right, so they probably react very differently to certain situations, and you can't figure out why. But these differences, even the ones that are relatively insignificant, can be the cause of many fights, like I was saying, and conflict in your marriage. And this is because, as the Bible says, we tend to rival those things we don't understand, okay? And that comes from Jude 10. So there are reasons why we operate the way they do, why we operate the way we do as individuals. There's reasons why we like certain things and enjoy certain things, and our spouse doesn't, right? So each part of your spouse and their character has a backstory. Each element of who he is, how he thinks, and what he's like is coached in its set of guiding principles, which often make sense only to the person who holds them, okay? But it's worth the time if we will take this, if we take the time to study why they are the way that they are. That's important. So if you miss this level of intimacy that you once shared with your spouse, that talks about this level of understanding and compassion, because we did have that early on, if we're honest with ourselves, more so than we do now in some of our relationships, right, with our spouses. And I'm saying, like, some of us have really great marriages, and we have this level of understanding and intimacy with our spouses that we once had, and we've worked hard for that because we've been married for a long time, or we've just put in so much work for that. But there's others of us who don't have that, who haven't, who've gotten far away from this level of intimacy and understanding with our spouses that we had when we were dating, or when we were first married or together, and we want to get this back, right? So one of the best ways that we can unlock their hearts again is by making a commitment to know them. So that's the next point that I want you to get, is one of the best ways to unlock your spouse's heart again is by making a commitment to know who they are. Study them, read them like a book that you are trying to understand. This, treat your spouse as a treasure chest waiting to be unlocked, right? You need to find the key. So ask questions about them, right? So the Bible says the ear of the wise seeks knowledge. If you don't understand something, you wish to seek it, right? You want to know about it. You want to learn about it. That comes from Proverbs 18:15. Love takes the initiative to begin conversations. Okay? That's the next point that I want you to get. Love takes the initiative to begin conversations. In order to get your mate to open up, they need to know that you desire for understanding that your desire for understanding them is real and genuine. All right? And that is the whole entire point. It goes together. Love takes the initiative to begin conversations, and in order for you to get them to open up, they need to know that your desire for understanding them is real and genuine, okay? And the next thing we need to do is we need to listen. All right, so we ask questions and then we listen, and we need to really listen, okay? A fool does not delight in understanding, but only in revealing his own mind. Proverbs 18:2. So the goal of understanding your mate is to hear them, not merely to tell them what you think. Even if your spouse is not very talkative, love calls you to draw out the deep water that dwells within them. Proverbs 25, okay? So the next thing that we need to do is ask God for discernment. The Lord gives wisdom. From his mouth comes knowledge and understanding. Proverbs 2:6. So things like gender differences, family backgrounds, and varied life experience can cloud your ability to know your mate's heart and motivations. But God is a giver of wisdom. He can show you what you need in order to know how to love your spouse better. So ask him. Ask him for that discernment, right? Can we all just say right now, like, Lord, please give me the wisdom that we need. Show me what I need to do, what I need to know in order to love my spouse better. Give me the right questions to ask. Help me to practice active listening and to just listen to them well and better, and help me to understand them better, right? So by wisdom a house is built, and by understanding it is established, and by knowledge the rooms are filled with all precious and pleasant riches. Proverbs 24:3-4. That is beautiful. Let me read that again. By wisdom a house is built, okay? And by understanding it is established, and by knowledge the rooms are filled with all precious and pleasant riches. Proverbs 24:3-4. There is a depth of beauty and meaning inside your wife or husband that will amaze you as you discover more of it. Enter the mystery with expectation and enthusiasm. Desire to know this person even better than you do now, and make him or her your chosen field of study, and you will fill your home with a kind of riches only love can provide. Doesn't that sound amazing? Don't you want that kind of life with your spouse, that kind of house that they're talking about in Proverbs 24:3-4? I know that I do, and I don't totally have that, but it's something that I'm working towards, and we're working on building our family and learning how it functions well, and there's a lot of moving parts there, so there's things that we have to change and boundaries we have to create, and our kids are small, so that's, always a little chaotic when our kids are younger and learning. Obviously kids are always learning, we're always learning, we should be encouraging that even well into adulthood. But I'm just saying, when you have toddlers and things like that, like, we just know that life is a little more chaotic in different ways than it is as our children are starting to gain understanding of how it is that they're supposed to appropriately function in this world, right? So today's dare is prepare a special dinner at home, okay? Just for you and your spouse. The dinner can be as nice as you prefer. Focus this time on getting to know your spouse better, perhaps in areas you've rarely talked about, and determine to make it an enjoyable evening for you and your mate. So you can even plan a little something after dinner too that your mate would enjoy and really appreciate, if you want to take it to the next level, which I think would be a wise thing for us to do. So really take this dare seriously, just preparing maybe their favorite foods, or just even something that you think that they would really enjoy, something thoughtful. I know that if my husband just prepared a dinner for me and him without our children, I don't even know how he would do it. It would be a miracle. But that would just be so special. I wouldn't even care what he cooked. He could cook a hot dog and I would just be like, wow, this is so thoughtful and um, amazing, you know. And it's not that I'm not saying he wouldn't do something like that. It's just we're in just this stage of life where that becomes difficult sometimes. So I'm just saying, like, doing something like that for your spouse, like, even if you think, like, oh, well, man, we don't have a lot of money, so I can't prepare this extravagant dinner. I don't think it's about that. It's about the thought. And that was my point, is that, like, if you think up something nice for your spouse to make them, if you're just thinking of something thoughtful like that, then they're gonna be so appreciative. Even if they don't show it at first, because some of us can have this hard exterior, but their heart is definitely gonna be spinning a little. You're gonna be pulling on their heartstrings for sure. So I encourage you to do today's dare with just a joyful heart and just get excited about doing something nice and thoughtful for your spouse and really gaining preparing what you want to talk to them about, what you want to discover about them, not to make it like stuffy homework, but to get excited about, like, hey, I realize that I don't know this about you and I just want to take the time to get to know this about you because I love you, and making it fun, and just planning a great evening for the two of you. So that's all for today. I can't wait to see you tomorrow for day 19 of the Love Dare. We're almost halfway there, guys, and I'm so excited to go on this journey with you. If you have not subscribed to my page yet, make sure you subscribe to my page, like me, share me with your friends. I'm trying to just offer free teaching as a way to give back from my ministry. This is the way that I give back in Wallace Family Ministry, and I'm just starting out, and I have a decent amount of subscribers already, and that's great, but I really just want to spread the word and offer quality teaching to just the communities, families, and parents, and just to teach families how to function optimally and well. So I love you guys. I hope you take care, and I will see you tomorrow for day 19. Bye.